In today's video, we're going to focus on a few must-have class setups for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So obviously there's going to be the main three that I'm going to focus on, but then there's going to be a couple alternative class setups that I think you should incorporate if you have the space. So obviously if you're new to the game, or maybe you haven't prestige or decided not to prestige, you're going to be limited to 6 class setups. So the class setups I'm going to give you should be able to take up 5 of those spots, and these will pretty much cover all the different scenarios, and you can use that 6th one for your camo grind or for pretty much whatever class setup you want. And then obviously those who have prestige, you have way more created class spots, so it shouldn't be an issue. So in addition to giving the class setups, I'm also going to give you some specific scenarios in which you should be using certain class setups over another. So if at any point you do enjoy the video or find it helpful, please remember to hit that like button. We've had back-to-back videos with over 1,000 likes. So hopefully we can keep that streak going and you enjoy the video. And if you do enjoy the video and you're not yet subscribed and like to find your way back, please make sure to double check that you change that red subscribe button to gray and turn those notifications on by ringing that bell. So every time I post a video, which is pretty much daily, you'll be able to get that notification. So the first class setup we'll focus on is more of an honorable mention, and this is one of those that is 100% dedicated to stopping streaks. So as you can see, it's the Titan without an optic. Then you have extended mags, FMJ1, FMJ2. Then as you can see, I've gone with the launcher with additional explosive damage and fast mags. To save a pick 10 slot, I decided not to equip any gear because I'm not going to actually be using this class for anything other than shooting down streaks. Then you can see I'm running Engineer and Cold-Blooded, which will go hand in hand, so you'll be able to spot those score streaks and be able to shoot them down. So once the enemy player's streak has killed you, you're going to go ahead and swap to this class, shoot that enemy player's streak down, and then go ahead and do the specialist swap so you can actually get back to a regular class setup. So this one's more for those lethal streaks. I wouldn't necessarily pull out this class setup just for UAVs and counter UAVs. And this next class setup is specifically for the Auger DMR, and I use the Reflex Sight, High Cal 1, High Cal 2, FMJ, along with Engineer, Dexterity, and Dead Silence. So the gameplay you've been seeing in the background is of that Auger DMR, and the great thing about the Auger DMR is that it is very lethal. It's going to take 2 shots to the chest or head. The way I recommend using this class setup is to be as patient as possible. I'm waiting for the guy to come through the door, snap on, I'm able to land a few shots, then I go ahead and move away. I can see someone's creeping around this side, so I'm kind of pre-aiming that doorway, and I'm able to take that guy out. There's a lot of pre-aiming going on with this particular weapon. See, I'm pre-aiming that door, I shoot as the guy is about to come through, and then I'm able to take him out. You're also generally going to want to take sight lines that are beneficial to this specific weapon. I'm not going to be running and gunning with this weapon because that's not how you would use this weapon. I'd be more likely to do that with another weapon that we're going to talk about later on in this list. You can see how I'm able to pre-aim, take people out, predict people's movements, especially with the UAV in the air. It could be very helpful. So personally, I'm going to use this weapon in domination, probably TDM, but I will not use this weapon in kill confirm because typically, since you're going to be keeping those longer sight lines, it's going to be very difficult to confirm your kills by grabbing the specific tag. So the reason I would pull out this weapon over another is that, let's say I'm in a lobby and I see someone's camping a head glitch. They're kind of camping that area pretty heavily, and I'm not necessarily going to be able to take them off that head glitch with another rifle or probably another SMG. So what I'll do is switch to this, take them off that head glitch because I'm able to snap onto them and kill them incredibly fast. So it's really one of those things that you're going to have to fill out and see how the lobby's feeling, because at the end of the day, if they're camping pretty heavily, you might have to use this weapon. They're actually mobile and stuff like that, you're probably not going to want to use this because, like I said earlier, it's not great at those close quarters engagements. And I don't know what it is recently, but I've been getting into a lot of lobbies with subscribers. So you can see those top 2 guys on my team. Those are just random subscribers, ended up slaying out pretty solid. So shout out to those guys and move it on to the next weapon on the list. So the next class setup we'll go ahead and talk about is for the SOG 9mm, and this one is with quick draw, grip, stock, and as you can see, I also have scavenger, gung ho, and dexterity. And for the most part, this one is a great run and gun type of class setup because you have that additional movement. You're going to be able to be quick on the draw because of your sprint out time. You're going to be running out. Gung ho is going to save you there. You got the quick draw, stock, so there's a lot of variables going on there. And if you don't have an issue with controlling the recoil without grip, you could always swap that out for fast mags if you want that a little bit faster reload. So the main reason I want to include this weapon is because even though I feel like the Switchblade is a superior weapon in pretty much every single way, but obviously there's a bunch of you out there that do not yet have that Switchblade unlocked. So I think the right thing to do in this situation is to include an alternative class setup that you guys could try out that pretty much everyone has access to. So when we do get into the Switchblade, you're going to notice that the perks are completely different. And the reason for that is because you could just swap the perks that you have on this weapon with that weapon and vice versa. So this is one of the main class setups I would use if I was just looking to have some fun and run and gun. And the main reason for that is because it's not really good at countering much in the game. So that means you're off to a good start. You're just having a little bit of fun. Maybe it's a little bit easier lobby where not all your teammates are just feeding streaks to the enemy team. So there's a non-stop UAV in the air. The people aren't running acoustic sensor. There's a lot of different variables you need to consider when you're running this class setup, but this is more of a starter class setup where you're just going to start the match. If it goes well, stick with it. And if it starts to go south, go ahead and switch up the class setup so you'll be able to counter a lot of those annoying things that we deal with in the game. So my go-to Switchblade class setup is going to be Rapid Fire 1, Rapid Fire 2, Hybrid Mags, Flak Jacket, Dead Silence, and Ghost. So the main reason these 3 perks are so useful is because they counter a lot of things in the game. And in case you guys don't know, Flak Jacket is one of the strongest perks in the entire game. It'll help to keep you alive against Battery's War Machine and the Cluster Nade, Torque's Barricade, Firebreak's Reactor Core and the Purifier, Outrider's Sparrow, as well as Nomad's Mesh Mines, along with the Hellstorm and General Nades that you could just equip. So the main reason I use this is because typically when you're going to carry a team, you're going to have to get your streaks. And the only way you're going to get your streaks is if you stay alive. And the best way to stay alive is not dying to randomness within the game. And I'm sure there's a bunch of you out there that have died to a mesh mine, a barricade, or whatever the case is, 50 off a streak. So when you 100% need to stay alive, this is going to be a good go-to for any class setup because it will prevent those easy deaths. So now the reason I run Dead Silence is because you're going to be moving around the map pretty quickly. And the thing you're going to want to do is keep off anybody's acoustic sensor, because they're going to just be able to aim down sight at you as you come around the corner, and they're pretty much going to kill you before you even had a chance to fire your weapon. But obviously you don't want that to happen, so you got to close those distances, get as close to the enemy as possible, be able to take advantage of your SMG range. And lastly, I like to run Ghost because as I am doing this run and gun mobility type thing, I'm going to stay off the UAV. If my teammates are dying at an incredibly fast pace, I don't need the enemy knowing exactly where I am, because that's going to make it a lot harder for me to actually stay on that streak. So if you actually have the SOG and the Switchblade along with the different creative class spots available, I would actually make a total of 4 classes using a combination of these perks with each of these weapons. And I'm not going to lie about this particular class setup. This is the one I pull out when my teammates are heavily going negative, feel like I need to play faster and get those streaks as fast as possible, so I can actually feel like I'm playing for that win, because a lot of times it gets so lopsided that it's almost impossible to come back. So this is my go-to when that particular scenario happens. And one of the funny parts about this specific match is the match prior, someone was calling me a huge camper. So I ended up switching to this specific class setup that I'm talking about right now, because this is my go-to run and gun class setup. And as you can see from the gameplay, I'm not camping in one particular spot. And even after this match, the guy called me a camper, said I didn't kill him once, but I ended up killing him about 6 times. So with that, we'll go ahead and transition to another class setup, which is for the KN57. And with this one, you can see that I'm using the Elo Sight, Hybrid Mag, Stock, Rapid Fire, along with Flak Jacket, Gung Ho, and Dead Silence. So even though this weapon is one of my must-have class setups, I don't think this is the most powerful weapon in the rifle category. But the reason it makes my list is because it's one of the most versatile. Generally, the Rampart's a little bit more overpowered because it's going to give you that raw damage output so you can insta-kill people, but it lacks a little bit of mobility. If I can guarantee that I would only get into one-on-one engagements, I'd probably go with the Vapor because overall it is a better weapon. But the main area where the KN outclasses the Vapor is magazine capacity with that Hybrid Mags. You get the additional 10 bullets or something like that with the reduced reload time. And you could go with the ICR over the KN, but then you end up the same issue as we ran into with the Vapor, which is that limited ammo capacity. So even though pretty much all the rifles are very usable with the right class setup, I think the KN is the most versatile across the board. So here's the part of the video where you guys can actually help each other out. And what I want you guys to do is go down to the comments section. Let me know what you thought of my particular list. And that's whether or not you agree or disagree with my list. And then go ahead and leave one class setup of your own that you think is a must-have class setup. And that pretty much wraps up the video. If you guys did enjoy the video in any way, please remember to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get this video over 1,000 likes within the first 12 hours. I'd be very appreciative if we could do that again. And then if you guys are brand new to the channel and you'd like to find your way back, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Do appreciate all the support on the channel. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.